Technically, it's only been a month.
It's been a month. It's been a month.
Yeah,
It's always been a month.
Yeah, actually, that's a good timeline to work from. It's like, oh, when was the last time I did this? Oh, a month. Exactly a month. About. Anyway, that's enough vamping. So here comes the part where I say, "Hi, I'm Trevor, and welcome to Catching Up on Cinema." If you're not familiar with the program, Catching Up on Cinema is a film analysis podcast wherein we introduce each other to films, expand our cinematic horizons, and, in essence, catch up on our cinema. So, it is the month of June 2025, and is once again that very special time of the year wherein we do our very special Tales from the Shelf episode. And in joining me in this endeavor, I have my good buddy Brad with me. How's it going, Brad?
You know, I could say it's been going wonderful. I could say it's been going badly. But the truth is that no matter how it's been going in life, as soon as this recording starts, it is going exceptionally well because I love to be here. Thanks for having me, Trevor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How was
Oh
that
yeah.
for an intro? Let's go.
Yeah, thanks for joining me as always, Brad.
Mhm.
We're gathered here today for the fourth edition of something that we don't. I mean, our backlogs have been growing quite substantially. So who knows how long this episode is going to go? How big this is going to be? But this is the fourth edition of something we'd like to call the Backlog Boogie, part Quatre, if you will. I am French, to quote Bruce Campbell from Spider-Man.
Excuse me?
Excuse me, baking powder. Part 4 for the uninitiated. So this is our fourth go around of the Backlog Boogie, and essentially what that entails is Tales from the Shelf, or excuse me, Tales from the Shelf, is our excuse to talk about our movie collections. As you may have noticed in the background of our respective webcam feeds, both Brad and I have quite a lot of physical media, DVDs, Blu-ray, and 4K discs. So every month we get together, and this serves as our platform to share some stories about our collections. And the Backlog Boogie serves as kind of the unfortunate situation where we, instead of picking and choosing, like very deliberately, what we're going to be talking about, instead, we're going to be relegating our conversation strictly to movies that we have bought, movies we've taken into our collections, and have yet to watch, hence Backlog. So this is the shelf of shame, if you will,
Now,
the bane of any collector.
Now I want to just real quick. I got two things before we get into this proper. I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt you real quick here, Trevor. Now for me, I don't know how you view your backlog because there's really two different types of backlog, and I specifically for this one picked movies that I have never consumed in any form in any way. So, for example, I recently bought the Jurassic World Ultimate Collection to get ready for Jurassic World Rebirth. That comes out in about a week. Have I watched a single one of those 4Ks to get prepared for that movie that comes out in a week? No, but I have seen them all already. So I am not considering that as part of my backlog. It is technically part of a backlog, but for this one, I'm specifically highlighting movies that I have never seen in any form. I don't know. I don't know how you approached it. I can't remember what we've done in the past.
Now, you see, Brad is able to do this because I'm guessing your backlog is quite substantial. And regardless of whether we're dealing with movies you've seen in some capacity or not, there's going to be a lot to pick from. So you can afford to pare it down in that way. For me, and I think in episodes past, I don't think I made any distinction between films that I've seen in some form. It comes down to the disc itself.
Mm-hmm.
If the optical disc has not been put into my machine and viewed, I treat that as being part of the backlog. I'm not a fan of collecting for the case, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
or like collecting for the shelf, where it's like, oh, this looks nice on my shelf because it belongs there, or it's part of a franchise or something that I'm deeply attached to. If I'm bringing it into my home, I gotta watch it. Like that's kind of the rule. Is like I'm not going to buy a movie. I'm not going to put I'm not going to put it on my shelf unless I have the utmost intention of actually watching it. And that that extends to movies that I've seen a bajillion times. In fact, I have several of them sitting right here in front of me. Movies that I've seen many, many times, but never this particular disc or this particular rendition of it. So feel free, Brad. I don't know if you don't have access to those or not, but in my rule book, you're not breaking the rules if you were to trot out one of those Jurassic Park discs or something.
And that's fair because that is technically part of a backlog. But I'm just, like I said, I have, like you said, I have enough to choose from that I can go with the ones I haven't seen. Now, I will say I have one pick here that
Yeah.
kind of breaks that rule where I have maybe seen it, but maybe not seen something with it. We'll get into that. But there's one that's in that gray zone. But most of mine are ones I've never seen.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but it should be interesting. As is customary, however, I'm going to do my hosting duty here and promptly toss Brad directly into the path of the oncoming bus and say, "Hey, Brad, what would be your first backlog pick that you'd like to share for our viewers and listeners?"
Well, I will start with a 2-for-1, a twofer, as they like to say. And technically, this is a 4-for-1. This is a fourfer. This is a bit of a fourfer.
A forfeit.
This is a fourfer.
Quatre.
Yeah, exactly. Just perfect. It was the four. I knew that it was the fourth backlog boogie. So I'm starting off with the fourfer here, and I have two, sets, two SKUs, if you will, but one of them has 3 movies in it, all from the controversial but talented auteur Lars von Trier, and all from the Criterion Collection. I have the Lars von Trier's Europe Trilogy, which has his first 4 films, and The Element of Crime, Epidemic, and Europa. I'm just realizing that my am I always backwards when we do this? Is my font always?
I think you've always been backwards, Brad.
Okay.
I don't
All
know
right.
if that's like a artistic move on your part.
Yeah, I don't want to be.
I've never said anything about it just
Is there
because
a
I'm
setting
like,
on here? Can I flip this right now?
I think you can.
Video.
You might have to do it
Here we
yourself
go.
though.
Mirror.
You gonna do it? Oh,
Whoa!
whoa, Brad, your head
There
looks
we go.
wrong. Like
that?
your hair looks wrong. Everything
Yeah.
looks wrong.
You're right. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Oh,
doesn't matter.
we're just gonna have it be backwards.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. Maybe I can hold up a mirror, and then that way my head is still in the right spot. But
We
anyway.
need a complex system of mirrors to view his Blu-rays.
So yes, I have the Europe Trilogy and Antichrist, all from the Criterion Collection. I quite like Lars von Trier. I have not seen most of his works, I would say, but I have seen some. I've seen Nymphomaniac, The House That Jack Built, and Dogville. And yeah, I've liked them all, liked them to loved them all to certain degrees. And he's a filmmaker that I've wanted to kind of do a more of a deep dive into. That's why I purchased his set here with his first 3 films. Now the problem is that I'm the kind of guy where I don't always do this, but I'm not usually an a la carte kind of guy when it comes to deep diving or doing any sort of dive into a filmmaker's works. Like and I've said this before, I like to do a, start from the beginning and follow their career trajectory over the course of their career. So with that, I'm not going to just jump right into Antichrist. So that's why I bought the first 3 films, and I do want to do it, but I have to admit those first 3 films, just reading what they are, not selling me. I want to watch them eventually, but it's like the kind of thing where it's like, do I really want to sit down and watch Epidemic, which I don't even remember what it was about, but it was like some sort of, very, very artsy, experimental kind of sophomore film from him, and it's just like, But anyway, I do want to watch his stuff eventually, and I will probably at some point make my way through the filmography. I don't know some of his other works like Dancer in the Dark. I don't know if they're easily available to watch. I don't know if they're available physically, but that would also be a bit of a hindrance. Looks like it's on Plex and Canopy. We're good there. I can watch it at least there. I don't know physically what's going on with it, but anyway, that's yeah, Dancer in the Dark. I'm not seeing anything on Blu-ray.com. But that's Lars. That's Lars for you.
Okay, and those are all Criterion discs. Are they Blu-ray or 4K?
They are all Blu-ray, which was a little bit scary, because nowadays with everything getting upgraded, I'm not worried about this set. This
Mm-hmm.
one, Antichrist, got me a little worried because
I
this is
think
something
that's a older disc, right?
it's an older disc,
Yeah.
and it's I think it's pretty popular film among Criterion heads, so it's definitely one I could potentially see getting upgraded. People really want to see Willem Dafoe's penis in
Oh yeah.
4K
There's
quality.
4K junk. Yeah.
Although I believe it was a prosthetic. I think that is confirmed. But anyway,
Considering what is done to it in the film, Brad, yes, I would. I
yes.
would hope it's a prosthetic. The
From
man
what
is
I've
a great
heard.
actor for sure. Maybe has practiced the method on occasion, but no. There are limits to this craft.
Yeah, from what I've heard, again, I've never seen it, but from what I've heard, that sounds like it would be correct.
Well, I'm glad I didn't say explicitly what happens in the film.
Yeah.
Then I actually have seen that one. It's one of I think
Oh
two.
yeah, you
Yeah,
guys covered this, didn't you?
yeah, we did
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
Very rare thing. Not many Criterion Collection films have been reviewed on Catching Up on Cinema, but my regular co-host Kyle, he actually is a fan of Lars von Trier. Like he actually has ingested a decent amount of his filmography. He likes his flavor. He spoke very highly of the house that Jack built, for instance. Antichrist was a film that he presented to the show. Like he said, "Hey, Trevor, you want to review Antichrist?" I was like, "That's a Lars von Trier film. I've never seen one of those." And he was like, "Well, you're going to start." And actually, I take that back. If memory serves, I think he lent me as a primer. He was kind enough to lend me a Criterion DVD of, I think it was Element of Crime, which I think that's like his first movie or early movie from
Yeah,
him.
no, that's his first one. That's his first
Yeah,
one.
Kyle actually just owns that. He doesn't own that many movies, but that was one that he happened to have on DVD, and he lent that to me, and he said, "Maybe watch this, give you an idea of what we're dealing with here, and then we'll review Antichrist." So we didn't cover Element of Crime, but I have seen that one too, and yeah, they're both very good films. I'm struggling to remember in what essence they were, like where the mark of quality came from precisely. But very interesting man. I've seen a handful of interviews with Lars von Trier, and very interesting mind, very interesting fella. Um, and I remember being impressed enough with both of those films that um, House that Jack Built was one that I definitely wanted to watch, and also to a lesser extent the Nymphomania duology. I guess I think if there's a part one and a part two, I was kind of interested in that. Like I was like, I wonder what this is exactly, and the cast is fucking stacked, so it has that going for it. But yeah, interesting fella. I too would like to go through his filmography or get a better handle on it, I guess, because I got two very disparate examples of his body of work to the point that I don't quite know what the unifying like quality of it is. But I got enough of a taste where it's like, I got a feeling about this guy. I think he's good.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say he's maybe a little style over substance in some ways, but I really dig his style from what I've seen, and I think certainly Dogville, I think, had a lot of there was a lot of meat on that bone that you could chew into if you're a Dogville head. Um, but yeah, it looks like Breaking the Waves had a Criterion release, but it is out of print. And I will say, funny story, with that Lars von Trier trilogy, that is also out of print. And I remember I was like looking on Criterion's website during one of their recent sales, and I was like, oh, I'll finally pull the trigger on that Lars von Trier trilogy. And I looked, and it said it was out of print. Let me just confirm right now because I have the site pulled up. But yes, Blu-ray is out of print. So I panicked and I said, oh no. And I rushed to Amazon and purchased the set on Amazon.com, where it was still available. And I said, listen, this thing's only going to go up in value. So I'm glad I bought it.
Okay, so we're making Lars von Trier investments. Gotcha.
Yes. It might be, I don't want to say for sure, it might be the only Criterion I've bought that was not through Criterion.com or Barnes & Noble. It might be. I don't want to say for sure, but I'm pretty sure.
I was about to say, yeah, you're pretty keen on marking your calendar for those sales. Like that is out of character for you, but necessity.
This Friday, I believe, is the Barnes & Noble sale.
Oh, you got anything scoped out that you think you're gonna pull the trigger on?
Might have to pop on that Sorcerer 4K.
Ooh, I know you like your Billy Friedkin. Billy Friedkin. Yeah, no, I mean that's a great film. And also, do you have the Wages of Fear? Is that a 4K also?
I have it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
I don't know if it got upgraded, but I have it just the Blu-ray though.
Yeah, I was about to say I know you have that one for sure. And the Sorcerer Blu-ray that currently exists is not great, so I imagine the 4K will be a huge step up from that one. I have the other one, so I can speak from experience.
Hey, right now you're one up on me because I don't have it at all. So
well, even better. It's from a director you love, and you're getting the best version of it that exists. So worthy investment for sure. I'll have to take a look. I haven't taken a look at the Criterion catalog in a minute. However, I'm about to speak on it because, as tends to be the case, Brad makes a pick. He shows off his wares. Then it comes to be my turn, and I try to play off of you, Brad. It's kind of a game. It makes my decision making easier, where I can just parrot you, basically. So you shared two Criterion. One was a set, but two Criterion boxes. And I'm going to do the same. And they're not from the same director, unfortunately, but they are of the same genre and from the same country of origin. So close enough. So I have here a Blu-ray that I've had, I think, for about a month, and then one that I've had since Christmas. So the one that I got more recently, Eastern Condors.
Ooh, nice.
As directed by Sammo Hung, who is the largest face on the cover there at the top. And also a Christmas gift from my soon-to-be brother-in-law, the Police Story box, which I think you have, right, Brad?
Yeah, yep, I got that set.
Yeah, so this is Jackie Chan Police Story 1 and 2. This does not include Super Cop, which Brad and I, funny enough, we've reviewed together. But I have that from, is that 88 Films, I think? I got the 4K of that. I think both of us have that, so we both have the Police Story trilogy. These are, of course, Hong Kong films, as directed by Sammo Hung, and I believe Jackie Chan directed the Police Story films himself as well. This one's still in the shrink wrap. Haven't really gotten to it, but I have seen both of these films. It's been decades since I've seen Police Story 2, and honestly, really the only highlight I remember was the playground sequence. Police Story 1 obviously is kind of a legend of the industry. The House of Glass mall sequence at the end is a showstopper. That comedic beat with the phones, that whole vaudevillian sequence is terrific. Often cited as like a personal favorite and key film in Jackie Chan's filmography. These are very precious films. These, maybe the first one, I'm not positive on the second one, but definitely the first one feels Criterion worthy to me. Eastern Condors is a film that I know by reputation, but actually have never seen. I've seen snippets from the finale of it, and it's right up my alley. This is a Vietnam War film, as done by the Hong Kong film industry. So the stunts are going to be over the top and crazy, but it's also going to be probably aping off of the success of the recent like Rambo films, like more specifically Rambo 2. the one that made all the money, basically. Like all of international cinema after Rambo 2, everybody was imitating Rambo 2. It's science. Like it was just a thing. So this movie's existence is no surprise. But the tone of it always struck me, where it seems like it's a bit more serious than your average Hong Kong action film of the time. And also Sammo Hung being at the helm and presumably being involved in the choreography is a huge selling point, especially because this is often touted as the movie that Sammo Hung got in really good shape for. It's kind of like a movie. Weird reference, Brad. Try to keep up. Supernova. Do you know the movie Supernova, Brad?
Boy,
It's from the year 2000,
I know the song by Liz Phair, but I don't know if I know the movie.
Starring James Spader. And famously, it's an Alan Smithy movie as far as memory serves. Famously terrible movie, terrible sci-fi movie. I think my mom rented it though, so I'm one of a handful of people on the planet who've seen this piece of shit. Anyway, like the one takeaway from it is nothing to do with the movie really. It's just that James Spader, like asshole nerd, like man who plays either assholes or nerds, is like weirdly jacked in it. And it's like the one distinctive quality that movie has is that Supernova is that movie where James Spader had abs, right? And Eastern Condors is that for Sammo Hung, where Sammo Hung is noted for his kind of rotund physique. He's the fleet-footed fat man. He's the Chris Farley of martial arts, Brad. It's glorious. It's the most amazing thing to watch. But for this one, he kind of got in decent shape. Like he trimmed down noticeably for it.
Not to get back on James Spader, but is there a reason he is shirtless in every image from this film? Like, is there
because that's the only thing that's worth noting about the film.
Like,
it's a busted ass movie that for some reason James Spader deemed it necessary to get in really good shape for it.
I don't see a single image here with his shirt on.
Can you screen share that shit? I think you can. I'm not positive.
Let's see. Share screen.
Because really, nobody knows this movie. Nobody's really seen it. But I remember.
Are you seeing this?
Hey, we got the tools.
Like right here, we got shirtless.
Shirtless.
I guess right there he has a shirt on, but
he's got shirtless, shirtless,
right
shirtless.
Yeah, look at it. He's kind of almost, he's kind of going for a David Duchovny kind of vibe right here.
Yes.
He had to compete.
I get that reference.
Duchovny was the hot thing back then, and he had to pop his shirt off and say, "Hey, I'm still a sex symbol, people." And then I don't know who this guy is, but he had to compete too. He said, "I'm joining in the fun, James."
That's the vampire doctor guy from the Twilight movies.
I just don't.
Do you get that reference?
Vampire doc? Not really. No.
He's like the patriarch of the Cullen family or whatever.
Oh, the dad of the
dad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the vampire daddy. The vampire daddy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would think, in space you wouldn't be popping off your shirt that often, but I guess I don't know. I mean,
you would think, but it's like Kenneth Branagh in his Frankenstein. It's like, when you got to do hard science, you got to whip that shirt off and get greased up.
That should be. We should do a theme on Tales from the Shelf, movies where celebrities pop their shirts off to show off their hot bods
for no reason. Just it's not relevant to the plot or the context of the scene. It's just like, we got like foreign investors who have expectations. It's the Marvel law, Brad, where it's like, we need that trailer shot of Paul Rudd. We just need you to get really dehydrated for like just 5 seconds, not even minutes, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So we can put that frame in the trailer, and all the soccer moms, all the wine moms will go, "Oh,
I want to go see that." Yeah.
Handsome Paul Rudd got abs. Whoa. It's like, yeah, he got those abs for 5 seconds.
Yep.
It's the Marvel law. It's required. Like I'm pretty sure that is part of the contract. It's like, you will drink nothing for 2 weeks just for this trailer shot.
Does Sammo Hung pop his shirt off in Eastern Condors?
I haven't actually watched it,
Oh, all right.
so I don't actually know. Maybe he's not known to do that. He's not known to be a very vain man at all. Actually, like that's kind of his reputation. He is a hard ass, like flabby ass, but hard ass at the same time. Like it's funny because you look at him, he looks like a fucking cuddly teddy bear. It's like no, he's a tough guy. Like also one of the finest martial arts choreographers of all time. His style, like he has a deep reverence for individual martial arts, like styles, basically. And it's often like a trademark of his to kind of exhibit different forms and show the distinctions between movements and stances and styles and stuff. And also, he's really big on like showing actual violence. Like Jackie Chan, sometimes he's criticized of. Well, I don't think he's ever criticized, but like sometimes it's like when he's in Jackie versus the world mode, it's like, dude, like you should have been dead like 30 times over. Whereas like Sammo Hung, it's like when somebody gets like hit clean once in a fight, usually they'll have the makeup team come in and like show like a welt on that person's face, or like show them have a busted lip, or show them like get wobbly in the knees or something. Like he was very keen on showing that there's like consequences to violence, which makes him a very good candidate to do a martial arts war movie, which as far as I can tell is cut from the cloth of like say the Dirty Dozen. Like I think it's even advertised on the back of the box that it's like a suicide mission kind of scenario. So I wholly expect most of the heroes to go down in a blaze of glory, because that's like normal for just Hong Kong movies in general. But in a war movie, it's like, whoa, they're really wow, they're gonna go all out. They're gonna have so much melodrama when these people get blowed up. So I'm really excited for Eastern Condors. I actually put it in my 4K player the other day, but I got interrupted like 2 minutes in, and I was like, well, this will have to wait for another time. So I came this close to actually pulling the trigger on it. Didn't happen though. So next time, baby.
I really like that artwork on it too. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll show that up close because I love it too. Like it's great.
That's
like,
nice.
That looks great. It really does. I don't know the artist, but they did a fine job with that painting. Anyway, that's my pick. So hey, Brad, I'll pass the baton to you, bud. What do you got?
Well, I mean, some people would say that Sammo Hung is potentially king of his genre. He is the king of his genre. And speaking of king, got a documentary here. I have King on Screen.
Oh,
King
cool.
on Screen. The Stephen King documentary, now a major motion picture, as it says here. Has my text always been like, this is blowing my mind that
Brad, it has been backwards, but I'm unfortunately that much of a doormat that I never had the heart to say anything about it. It's just like he must want it that way for some reason. I'll just he clearly notices.
I don't know. I mean, I must have, but I don't know if I did. I don't know.
It's always been this way. Such that when you flip the screen to its correct orientation, I was a little weirded out, man. You're like, your hairline is wrong. the orientation of the room is wrong.
I need to, when I record this next time, flip my hair in the other direction so that when I flip it, it'll be right.
You do, man, because that really weirded me out. I was like, that's not Brad.
And I'll
That's
sit on the other side of the
Brad.
screen. Next time we'll figure it out. But I guess maybe I just assumed that it was backwards for me, but right for everybody else. I don't know.
We'll do the warm up.
Yeah.
And we'll flip the footage and we'll get acclimated to it.
Yeah.
But doing it mid broadcast is not wise.
This is stressing me out. But anyway, yeah. So this was who the hell put this thing out? Dark Star Pictures put this out. And now I will say a lot of my picks that I have in my backlog are coming from either Criterion, which I already mentioned, or not necessarily from Vinegar Syndrome proper, but from their partner labels and some Vinegar Syndrome proper. I tell you, I was looking at like my sort of recent purchases, and whether it's a good or bad thing, I tell you, my actual physical media purchasing within the last 6 months or so has slowed down pretty significantly. And I think it's more just in an attempt to save money with wedding and everything. But the Vinegar Syndrome and Criterion sales still have me. I can't shake those. So that's where a lot of these are coming from. And this is a Vinegar Syndrome partner label. I wanted to get the slip cover here. This is the main cover of the um, regular Blu-ray. If you buy it now, I do believe the slip cover is out of print. But
Son of a bitch.
yeah, and I had to get with the actual Stephen King on there. But I let you look at you got like almost like he's got his chest hair showing off there. There's a hot bod right there.
The Maine's finest.
Yeah. So I am pretty big Stephen King fan. I'm a King head. And I kind of like when I bought this, it was on sale, and I'm like, I have a feeling this documentary is going to be pretty insubstantial, I guess, like kind of just a bit of a puff piece, I'm assuming. Again, I haven't seen it, but um I'm not expecting anything too groundbreaking. But I like Stephen King enough, I read enough of his books, I watch enough of his movies, that it's kind of a thing where I could definitely see myself revisiting this doc down the line over and over. I get into times some zones where I just am watching a lot of Stephen King, and I could see this being something I throw on as well. Um, in fact, I'm reading a King novel right now that is a little bit I don't even know if I should say this on the air, but one book that he has since yoinked out of publication. He's yanked it out of
Really?
publication. It was one of his Richard Bachman books when he was writing under the pen name Richard Bachman.
The Running
And
Man?
yeah, what's that? Bachman?
No, The Running Man?
No, not that one. That one's still in print, I believe. I am currently reading Rage, which he has yoinked out of publication because it is centered around a school shooting. Um,
Oh.
and I was like, listen, I was kind of like I didn't really care that much. I'm kind of doing the thing I do with directors where I'm reading through King's work. And I was like, I can't read Rage. What I'm not too beat up about it. I'm not going to spend $150 to buy it used on eBay, whatever. But I ended up finding because Lizzie, my fiance, her dad was a big Stephen King fan. He is a big Stephen King fan, but he had like so many Stephen King books, and he's like, "Take them because I've read them. Take them." And I was like, "Oh, I wonder if in those 50 books I took from him and shoved in a closet, if Rage would be in there." And it wasn't Rage itself, but there is a collection of the 4 Bachman books in one, sort of pressing. And let's just say that it's a bit of a gold mine on my hands if I did decide to flip it, but I'm not going to right now because I'm currently reading that novel. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually hadn't heard of Rage.
Mhm.
It's a full length novel or just a short story?
I think they would classify it as a novel. It's about 100 it's a novel or a novella. It's about
Okay.
130 pages in the uh, collection.
I mean, it sounds like it was published as a novella at the
Yeah.
very least, like as an individual release. So, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
interesting. I didn't know that he pulled it from publication. That's interesting. Like I don't know the nature of the text, like if it's like really inflammatory or something. But that's cool that you have access to it now, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's it's interesting like reading it because it was written in here. I got to pull up here. When did it come out? Yeah, 1977. So
Different time, yeah.
obviously that subject matter wasn't, you know, as prevalent. And so now reading it, it's like, man, this is just some of the things in terms of how things are handled and how characters react. It's like, this is not how anything is at all. But reading it from that perspective, where that wasn't a common occurrence, is kind of interesting. And I haven't finished it yet. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's an endorsement of anything like that. But
No.
obviously, it's probably. I can understand why he would pull it, though. It's
Okay.
probably not something you would want out there anymore. But
Is the shooter like a young person or a Vietnam veteran?
his father is a war veteran, and he is a young person. But it's not like how you would it's not how I would think of in terms of it being a school shooting. It's basically he like kind of takes his class hostage.
Okay.
Not saying he doesn't, do anything with that,
Yeah.
but it's not how you would maybe think just from hearing it. So it plays out a little bit more differently.
Okay. So it's not a shooting spree. He
Yeah.
takes hostage. Okay, gotcha. Interesting. Anyway, we got off on something different there.
I hope you weren't planning to monetize this video, Trevor.
Absolutely not. With all 3 viewers we have.
I think I just screwed you over big time on that.
So that's a Vinegar Syndrome partner label release, correct?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
How was I not aware of this? Because I would have bid on that. Like I would have bid on that instantly. Because like Stephen King, we've talked about him many times on the podcast. Like, say what you will about the quality of his work. Like some people don't like it; they think it's too mainstream or too popcorny, I guess. But there's a quality to it that it really draws you in. His setups are always interesting. His characters are always interesting to me. His payoffs, it's kind of a meme at this point. Sometimes not so great. But I've read many of his novels, and more important though, I was basically raised on the movie adaptations of his novels.
Yeah.
The cultural footprint. I mean, he's such a prolific writer, but the seamless nature of some of the adaptations, where it's like many of these are not like one-to-one adaptations, like case in point, The Shining, Kubrick's version. It's not at all representative of the novel itself. But there's something about his style of writing or the way he presents his characters or his setups that just translates really well to adaptation. And so many of his movies, I value the adaptations of them, even if the quality of them varies wildly. Like Silver Bullet, for instance. That's nobody's favorite fucking werewolf movie, but I like it. Like it makes me, it makes me smile. And like I said, I was basically raised on film adaptations of his novels. So there's like a cozy, like warm blanket kind of quality to a lot of them. And a documentary just about that as a subject matter, even if it's a puff piece, I kind of just want that. Like that just sounds nice. That sounds like something I could put on in the background and just have a good time with. Like as you're talking about, I was thinking of those In Search of Darkness documentaries, where it's just like, those are 4 hours long, but there's just something about being like cozying up to the things that you love or that you remember really well, that you have a lot of nostalgia for, that just feels good sometimes. So those are immensely watchable. And if that's a quality documentary to any degree, I could see myself really enjoying that.
And they do have a pretty good, I don't have a full list unless it says on the thing, but no, it doesn't say on the thing. I like look at that. There's just like nothing back there. Like, come on, like.
Let me see that again.
Like that the back cover.
Whoa, that is some marketing needed to pick some different stills there.
Yeah, something.
Those images communicate nothing.
Yeah, that is very cheap looking. But just on the Vinegar Syndrome site, it says starring Frank Darabont, Mike Flanagan, Greg Nicotero, Mick Garris, Tom Holland. So pretty good pulls on some collaborators. Like,
oh yeah.
If Mick Garris wasn't here, I'd say, what the... Have we checked on Mick? Have we checked?
If he wasn't here,
is something wrong?
If he was aware, I'm sure he was calling them, being like,
yeah.
Hey, can I come over?
He's like, I'll do it for free.
Yeah, I was like, can I come over? Did you know that I did The Stand? Like, nobody liked it, but I did it. It's like,
Yeah.
and Frank Darabont, obviously, he's done some of the more prominent adaptations, some of the better adaptations of his work, and very good filmmaker in his own right. Greg Nicotero is always a great interview, and a very talented effects artist on top of that. And there was one other person you mentioned in there that instantly came to, oh, is Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
I mean, Dr. Sleep is terrific. Like, I really enjoyed it. I still need to see that director's cut. And so much of his stylistic nuance is heavily borrowed from like King's oeuvre, I guess you'd say. But Mike Flanagan, I kind of like filed him away in my mind as the man who says yes. He's the Tim Robbins of horror movie documentaries.
Yeah.
Which is like, if you ask, he's gonna say yes.
Yeah.
It's like Tim Robbins is the man who does favors, where it's like, hey, Tenacious D. It's like, hey, I'm Jack Black. I never met you before, Tim Robbins. You want to be in this movie as a bum? Yes.
Yeah. Hey, why not?
Mike Flanagan, it's like, oh, you're talking about horror movies? Can I come over? Because Mick Garris is going to be there. It's like, you lied to me. You said Mick would be here.
Mike, we love Mike. He peace and love, but he definitely wants to be in that club. He's the kind of guy that he will force his way into that club by any means necessary.
He's that guy that in the room who makes me nervous because he's too earnest, because he's too sincere, where it's like, what's this guy's deal? I remember having a coworker like that who was too nice to everybody, and I was like, what's your deal? Like, I don't know what that says about my upbringing, but when there's a guy who gushes that openly and like has that much passion, there's just a little bit of suspicion that creeps into the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Mike Flanagan has that for sure. But he's a great interview. Like, he's very knowledgeable, and he's a great extemporaneous speaker on top of that.
So yeah, I'm excited to check this out. I definitely hope that it gets into, like, hopefully it does get into like The Shining. I hope it's not.
There's a lot to say.
Yeah. And I think
I'd be really curious. Is King himself interviewed?
I don't
probably
think
not.
So. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that is sometimes the case with these things, where it's made by fans, but they don't necessarily have access to the person that they're covering, which, it has its strengths and its weaknesses. In this case, I kind of would want to hear from the man himself, although, it's fine without it. I'm sure, like, we all love these movies. We all know these movies. I'm sure there's a lot to be said without King's input.
Yeah. Yeah, and just even in terms of his career, he just has such an interesting career trajectory in terms of, his success, and then the stuff with The Shining, and him wanting more involvement with the movies, and him directing Maximum Overdrive, and then his accident late in his career. Like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously I don't think it's going to get super deep into a lot of that stuff because it's just King on screen, just focusing on the movie side of things, but I really do think like he would, if they make a good documentary about his life in general, that is something that I think there's a lot of meat there in terms of him just as a person.
Yeah, actually, as you're saying that, like, something that comes to mind is that having just not even like really, really in depth, but just like a few minutes or a few paragraphs of somebody's personal insight into something is really fascinating. Because I watch a lot of, or I read a lot of biographies and autobiographies mostly biographies from boxers, and a lot of interviews from them as well. And there's a lot of really interesting details that come out of those interviews, because their whole career, the whole thing that they do is about being adversarial towards another person. You have an opponent, and you have wins and losses, and we, as the person that takes in the product, the actual fight, the collision between those two people, we have a very different take on what transpired and how those people felt about it, as compared to the person who was actually doing it. And a lot of times, like, there's this almost like a meme at this point where it's like, a lot of times, like, boxers will cite somebody they defeated as the toughest person they ever fought. It's very strange where it's like, hang on, not the guy who whipped your ass. It's like, no, fuck that guy. You got lucky. It's like, no, that one guy that I beat his ass for 12 rounds. That was a tough guy. It's like, and then there's all sorts of like details like leading up to the thing or in the immediate aftermath of the thing that only they're really privy to. Like, yeah, I showed up to that fight and I was just cracked out of my mind. It's like, but you won. You looked fabulous. It's like, yeah, I don't remember. And same goes for like a writer or a filmmaker. It's like their take is their take. They're gonna have very different insight into the thing. And I think just having like a paragraph or like a minute of just him giving his take on what something was, even if it just amounts to like a I never bothered to watch that piece of shit. It would be kind of neat to see him say that.
Honestly, yeah.
So yeah, I'd take it back. I want him in it.
Yeah. Maybe someday.
Well, I also want that documentary though.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it to my attention because somehow I was never made aware of that. But damn,
I mean,
that's
I will
right
say
up my alley.
it is 50% off right now on Vinegar Syndrome site. Just heads up. No slipcover, but
Okay. Well, if you see my eye line like wavering while you're talking and then you get a lot of uh-huhs and and a lot of on my keyboard, you'll know what I'm doing. If you see me fishing for my credit card,
yeah,
you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, man, Brad, you're setting me up really well here. So you had a documentary. I have two. I have two myself, to quote Hans Gruber. So this one actually has been on my shelf. Both of these have been on my shelf for a minute, so I apologize if these have both already been mentioned on the previous editions of the Backlog Boogie. We are up to 4 editions of this, so there's a very good chance that these have been there long enough. Anyway, I have here, still in the shrink wrap, from Yes Asia. Has long kind of been my go-to for import discs from Japan, Korea, and China, more specifically Hong Kong generally. I have a documentary here called Kung Fu Stuntmen.
Oh.
And I think in other regions, I think it's called Never Say No, because that's kind of the credo of stunt people in the Hong Kong film industry. Is like basically if you're asked to jump off a building, just say yes. just do it. Go die. Like go get injured, get bloodied up for your craft. This is right up my alley. Brad knows this. And in fact, I'm looking at a picture of Sammo Hung, contemporary Sammo Hung, right there.
Nice.
As should be the case, given that he's such a huge component of the Hong Kong film industry, and more specifically the martial arts and stunt side of it. I also see Donnie Yen pictured here. I think Yuen Wu Ping. I think that's Mars from. He's often cited as like one of Jackie Chan's best buddies. He was in Super Cop in a small role. Anyway, I actually don't know that much about this documentary, but just the subject matter, I was like, yeah, I should own that. I should watch that because I love that shit and I love learning more about it. Also, funny, I don't think we mentioned this on the ballerina review that Brad and I just did for his show, Cinema Speak podcast, by the way. Check it out. We reviewed ballerina together very recently. Stunts are going to have a category at the Oscars, I think in 27, not 26, something like that.
I think you're right. Yeah. Yep.
That's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm really excited for that.
It will be interesting to see how they do that, I guess, in terms of, picking which movie is going to be the winner, because like thinking of something like Ballerina versus like something like the newest Mission Impossible, where Mission Impossible, incredible stunt work, but it's a totally different vibe than the John Wick sort of thing. So I will be curious to see. I mean, it'll just be cool. I think just certain movies getting nominations, like if it was going to happen this year, I think like both Mission Impossible and Ballerina probably be getting nominations. But it'll be interesting to see how they end up picking winners and how they end up voting. I don't know, but it's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, no, I mean those are huge distinctions. One is, like a complex choreographed sequence of like micro stunts here and there. And then one is just like a spectacular feat, like it
Mhm.
like a singular moment, like jumping off of the tallest building ever or something like that. So very broad category in that sense. But you kind of have that same thing with visual effects as well, though,
Yeah,
where it's
that's
like the one is like you replicated the human face really, really accurately,
mhm.
and one is like we made an entire world, like in the case of like Avatar or something, where they're not the same thing, but somehow they're still in the same category.
That's true. I do wonder if it's going to be similar to the visual effects thing where potentially the winner will be not the movie that actually has the best stunts or deserves it, but is a, like maybe this is a bad example, but like something that is also up for best picture. Like if Dune Part 2 and Ballerina were both nominated, voters might go with the more prestigious Dune Part 2, even though stunt work in that is, there's still stunts there, but obviously I think it's significantly less than Ballerina, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think major factors will be danger.
Hmm.
Like that, I'm sure will be a big selling point that will sway a lot of people. Where it's like, oh my god, that was so dangerous, and difficulty of execution. Where like honestly, like that probably will hold more sway than the actual finished product,
Hmm.
which is kind of a shame because it's filmmaking. Like it is not the stunt, it is how it is captured and represented in the film. And by the way, if our eye lines are going a little haywire right now, it's because Mr. Scott Walker has entered the chat and he brought all the guns.
Scott.
So let's get through this, Brad. Scott says they're finally making a fourth Free Willy movie. Is called Free Willy for the reunion, and all the cast are returning after all these years. I cannot wait. Scott also adds, sorry, I mean it's called Free Willy for the reunion. Scott Walker also adds, Jason James, Richter, Jane Atkinson, and Michael Manson are interested in the fourth Free Willy movie. It's a sequel from the 1997 Free Willy Free the Rescue film direct sequel. Yes. Anyway, so the other documentary I have here is called Here Comes a New Challenger. And this is a Street Fighter 2, like the video game, documentary. This is about the making of and the legacy of Street Fighter, basically.
Hmm.
Uh, More specifically, I think Street Fighter 2, not the first game, which is a pile of shit. I don't know if you're aware of that, Brad, but Street Fighter 1 is hot garbage.
Okay.
This documentary, though, the reason I got it is because this is directed by Oliver Harper, who is a YouTuber on the very platform that we are using right now.
Wow.
Oliver Harper is a film reviewer, kind of a nostalgia film reviewer who has kind of branched out into editing and filmmaking. He's made a few documentaries at this point. I have them. In Search of the Last Action Hero, I think, was him as well. Kind of in the same naming convention as the In Search of Darkness documentaries, except for about action movies. Um, Here Comes a New Challengers, I think his latest film. But on top of that, he also edited a film called The Last Kumite, which I have on my shelf here. I got the 4K Steelbook version of it. And I picked that one up, one, because it's an homage to Bloodsport, which is a very important, like, formative film for me personally. Um, and also because I was really curious to see this YouTuber, like, can he be a professional feature film editor? And I want to say yes. I thought he did a fine job. The editing in that film feels seamless. It feels like a proper martial arts film. So I was very impressed with that. And I have yet to watch this. It's in my backlog after all. I've owned it for a while though. And I'm intrigued because I'm a lifelong gamer, and Street Fighter 2 was and is one of the more important video games in my life. So a whole ass documentary about it from somebody from the very capable hands of this fella seems like something I would want. So I have it on my shelf, but obviously I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. But I'd like to. And Scott Walker contributes. Boys, both of your opinions. How do you feel about returning to Woodsboro and Stu's for a third time? And we are definitely returning to Sydney's old house again. So this is Scream talk, I'm guessing.
Yes, yes.
What's the deal? Or like Sydney's out though, right? Like
No,
she
she's back. Oh, she's
Nefty.
back,
Oh,
baby.
they dumped the truck of money on her porch.
Oh yeah, they had to because they had that whole where they got rid of what's her name, Melissa Barrera.
Oh
They
yeah,
fired her.
she shat the bed, right? What'd she do? I can't remember.
I
She
mean,
did something wrong.
I don't want to get into politics or anything, but
Okay.
it was very much a I think she just tweeted about like very pro Palestinian stuff,
Oh
and
no.
I think it was maybe a little it's weird because now like it's like you would think, okay, that's like that's not a controversial take at all.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing that people do.
I think it was
Like,
maybe a little too like I don't want to say this in a bad way, but like the wound was maybe a little too fresh on the other side, if you know what I'm saying. Like it was a little
I,
too
I mean it.
so
Yeah,
at the
you can
like
put two and two together. Like
at the time, like it's I mean now it's crazy to think that that would be something she gets fired for, but and then Jenna Ortega left and I was a little bit
she's too big for that
she's too
series.
big, and I think
Yeah.
that like she didn't want to be associated with anything, and yeah, so it was a
She's hanging
big
out
old
with the
mess.
weekend.
Yeah, it was a big old mess.
uh,
But yeah, so they brought Nev Campbell back. And yeah, I know anything really about the plot of it, but I'm down to go back to Woodsboro again. I think it'd be fun.
yeah, I mean I did actually watch the most recent Scream, the one where they're in New York. It was not bad. Like I didn't
Hmm.
mind it. So yeah, I don't know where the story's going. Like I don't think anybody knows where the story's going at this point, but I don't think anybody ever really did. But I do watch all these movies. God knows why, but I do. Apparently, I do have very fond memories of that first Scream movie. I did watch it a lot when I was
Hmm.
young, so it's like it's in my bones at this point. I'm invested, so I'll just keep on watching if they keep on making them. Scott contributes. Melissa Barrera said she would be interested in returning to a Scream franchise again in the future. It depends on the story and the money. Anyway, so my picks just got railroaded by Scott. Thanks, Scott. So, Brad, what is your next pick?
Well, I don't even. Yeah, hang on. Give me. Okay, let's go with this one here. This is the one that I said was kind of on the bubble a little bit here, and it's because I have seen this movie, but I have not seen the director's cut of the film, which is included in this set here. So that's where I'm saying I haven't, I've seen the movie, but I haven't seen this one. So I have the 4K of JFK starring the Kevin Costner, and I loved this. I watched it for the first time probably a few years ago now, but I loved it and just instantly became a hit for me. And I tell you, for the longest time, I didn't look into this movie. I just thought it was, and nowadays Oliver Stone is kind of not a cool hip filmmaker. And I just assumed this was just Oliver Stone making a movie about JFK. I was just like, oh, it's just gonna be about JFK's life and who. I mean, peace and love, but it's not as interesting. And then when I found out it was a conspiracy thriller about the assassination and the cover up and all that, I was like, okay, now I'm in. And yeah, I think an amazing cast. Be curious to watch the director's cut, which I assume is not the version I got to look at the runtimes here, but yeah, I think I saw the theatrical cut, which is 188 minutes. Director's cut is 205. So it's sort of thing where gonna take you got to be in the right mood. You got to have the time to sit down and watch it. But I do really love this movie, and I'd like to watch it again.
So I see you got like 3 different clamshells in there. What's all that about?
I think it is 4K of the director's cut. Disc 2 it so okay, hang on. So there's 4 discs, 4 discs. There's three things, 3 shells, but 4 discs.
Okay.
Disc 1 is director's cut 4K. Disc 2 is Blu-ray of the director's cut. Disc 3 is Blu-ray of the theatrical cut, and disc 4 is special features Blu-ray. So only the director's cut is in 4K.
Ah, he did a follow up to. He did like a documentary about JFK, correct?
I believe, yeah, wasn't it like Through the Looking Glass or
It
something
was
like that?
pretty recent, and
Yeah.
I seem to remember his promotional tour for it. And it's like, oh, Ollie, are you doing okay, buddy? Like you been in that world too long? You okay? Everything good at home?
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah. I think he maybe lost, I don't want to say lost all credibility, but I think Snowden might have been the, not that I saw it, but
I
just,
did actually.
oh, okay. Did he lose all his I don't want to say credibility, but like his hipness, his coolness factor with Snowden?
No, it's a kind of a dull movie, and
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's voice is laughable. Um, and Nick Cage has a brief appearance in it, by the way. Um, I remember it kind of being a problem because there existed a documentary that came out very close to it that covered all the same ground, but just presented it better and was more compelling, just presenting the just the straight narrative as opposed to making a film out of it. So like as a film, it felt kind of flimsy. It felt like why does this exist when there's a perfectly good documentary over here that covers all the same ground, just does it better. Um, I don't know. I think he got nudged out of Hollywood. I don't know that he was ever really meant to be there anyway. But when it came to something like JFK and some of his filmography, like in the lead up to that, and maybe a few years after that, when Oliver Stone is on, he's a fantastic filmmaker. I mean, Platoon, like, I don't know if everybody loves Platoon, but Platoon is kind of an important movie for me because I have a Vietnam veteran dad. And that movie, while not realistic in any sense, is kind of the story of the whole war, kind of like the story of like every soldier, as opposed to like all of this could not happen to a single unit. That's just not how it is. But JFK and like Natural Born Killers, when he started getting like when he started using a wood chipper as his editing as his editing bay, you got some interesting, compelling cinema out of him. And JFK seemed like he was tailor made for that. I don't
Yeah.
know. Something happened where he got dispirited, just lost faith in humanity to a degree that was not healthy or something. I mean, the
Yeah.
cynicism was always there. It
I
just I don't know.
mean,
He got pushed even further into the darkness or something.
he had a pretty good run, like from Platoon through Natural Born Killers. He was kind of like he had a decade there where he was one of the big filmmakers going. Um, and I don't know, I don't know really where it careened off the path, but I mean, probably the 3-2-1 hit of World Trade Center W and Wall Street Money Never Sleeps. I think that might
Oh,
have
Wall
been,
Street is no bueno.
yeah, yeah.
No,
I
first Wall Street's great. Love the first one. Money Never Sleeps. Yeah.
never saw Money Never Sleeps, but just the vibe didn't seem. I don't know. It happens with a lot of filmmakers, but it is interesting. Like this is,
Zemeckis.
yeah. I mean, like we
I
don't need to
I
get into
really
this
love
here,
Robert
but
Zemeckis. I still watch his movies, but just took a hit at some point. Never quite recovered.
I'm endlessly fascinated by both filmmakers and musicians who never fail to capture any sort of spark after the first 10 to 15 years of their career. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it's kind of depressing, but I guess it's all the more commendable and should be celebrated when a filmmaker that is older does strike gold again. Somebody like Scorsese and Spielberg who are still just churning out banger. Well, Spielberg quite as much, but Scorsese for sure. Even somebody like Paul Schrader, who struck gold late in his career. I'm always very impressed by older filmmakers who can still make the magic happen.
Yeah, I mean, longevity in any career is always admirable. But filmmaking, just the scale of it, for me, it's somehow especially impressive. Where it's just like, wow, you really guiding that whole production. Like you have your eye on all these details, and you're really the guiding voice behind this. Damn, that's impressive. But your captain speaking, my buddy Levi, he comments here: Stone is a bit too downbeat for me. I recall Born on the 4th of July being unbelievably downbeat to a point of being almost comical. And also, based on a true story or not, it's relentlessly miserable. I've not actually seen it, although I was kind of surprised. I remember my dad, again, Vietnam veteran himself. I remember him actually getting something out of it. Like he has never cited it as like a movie he loves or like as like praise for or anything. But he was like, yeah, I'm got something out of that. So I don't know what that means, other than I should probably watch it. But sounds like I'm in for a real downer. So maybe I'll need to find the right time for that. And by the way, Scott Walker is at it again. So let's feed the beast here, Brad. What are you guys' opinions on the new Jurassic Park movie? It looks pretty good. I'm actually shocked, Brad. The marketing for this Jurassic World Rebirth has actually kind of got me a little. Like the first trailer, garbage. Second trailer, wow. The timing on the cuts and the trailer. Like again, we haven't seen the movie, but the timing on the cuts in the trailer and some of those shots are like genuinely like harrowing. It actually looks like a really good, solid, like tooth and nail, like adventure movie. And I'm kind of on board. I don't know about you, but I was like, I think they got me.
I think it looks good, but I will say the reactions have tempered my expectations. Because I don't have a full sense of what the general consensus is, but I've seen some good, but I have seen some very bad as well. So I'm definitely going in with not the highest expectations, but I do agree it does look pretty good. I'm excited in that regard.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's about. I don't know anything about the characters, but just the shots and just the I don't know the way the action seems to be composed. It looks like somebody knows what they're doing when it comes to building tension. So I'm kind of into it. Yeah, it's a something that Mr. Scott Walker will probably pick up. There's a shot of the T-Rex in a river that made me think of the novel of the original Jurassic Park novel. I was like, oh, are they doing that? Are they actually gonna like go back and like pay homage to that thing that was, I think, actually intended to be in the Spielberg movie, but was cut for or just never produced? I love when they do stuff like that, like the Peter Jackson King Kong with the bug pit. It's just like this is a thing that we wanted to do, didn't quite get there, but then Peter Jackson comes along decades later, and it's like we can do that. It's like we wanted to have the T-Rex in this like river raft scenario, just didn't have the time, didn't have the money, didn't have the tech. It's like we do now. Let's do it now. So we're getting a lot of comments now. This wasn't happening for the first hour of this podcast, so excuse me, dear listeners and viewers, as I catch up. Levi comments, Stone is a bit too downbeat. Oh, he already did that. Sorry, you already said that, dumbass. Coppola, Landis, De Palma, Hill, the list goes on. Remarkable talents who just don't quite have it.
Yeah.
And also, he contributes that the new Jurassic Park looks fun in a Turok kind of way. It looks like a fun Burroughs' Lost World type story. Yeah, I do get some of that. And Scott contributes. By the way, Scott asked if the World Trade Center is haunted, Brad. I don't have anything to say on that, so I skipped it.
No comment.
Yeah. Moving on. It's been confirmed the new hybrid creature. Its head looks like a killer whale, and its arms and hands look like it has gorilla DNA. Oh my god, he tied Jurassic Park to Free Willy. It happened. And it's finally been confirmed that the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus is definitely in the movie, and it's returning after all these years on the big screen. Everybody's favorite, Brad.
You know,
Everybody's favorite dino.
I would actually be excited about that because I used to own the Lego set of Jurassic Park 3, and I had a Spinosaurus Lego.
Oh no
And
shit.
yeah, oh yeah, and I had the plane that crashes, and I would just,
Yeah.
I just have William H. Macy get eaten over and over again. Although he doesn't get eaten in the movie, but whatever the actor is that gets eaten in the plane, I forget who it is, but anyway.
Yeah, I forget too. I think they were all just those guys.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny. Like everything is wrestling, Brad. I want to say what happened in Jurassic Park 3, which I actually defend as being like a fine.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a fine little adventure movie. It's not on par with what came before, but it's fine. It's good, and it's got Stan Winston's animatronics. So how could you go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that, like in wrestling terms, pushing the Spinosaurus was the wrong move. Where it's like, if I say Roman Reigns, Brad, is that a name that means anything to you?
I do know the name, but no, it does
I know
not mean
you
anything.
do. So really all I need to say about Roman Reigns is that infamously, he's okay now. Like, people like him now, but infamously, like about a decade ago, the company that he works for decided people like Roman Reigns, and the people didn't actually make that determination. The company made that for them, and the people got a little upset about that. They were like, I don't like this guy. Like, stop pushing him. Stop pushing his plate at me. Like, I don't want to eat Roman Reigns. And the company kept insisting and insisting, and people got pissed, and they started booing him. I want to say that's exactly what happened with the Spinosaurus, where it's like, we got this new guy. He's the new hotness, and we're going to have him assassinate the T-Rex, everybody's favorite dinosaur, the mascot of the franchise. He's on the fucking poster.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have him tear his fucking throat out in the first 20 minutes of this movie. And like the moment that happened, everybody's just like, no. It's just like, no. He's not the guy. I'm sorry, that Spinosaurus guy, this is not my kind of guy.
They just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I think the people were not ready for that change.
Me and
but
Scott are pro Spinosaurus over here, for sure.
It's that 20-year bullshit. It's that 20-year nostalgia wave bullshit where it's cresting. It's like, oh, it's been 20 years. It's time to trot out the Spinosaurus. Everybody, all those kids, all those Shrek kids, they want their Spinosaurus back. By the way, we got a fuck ton more comments. We're never going to get back on track. I'm sorry. Scott says, how do you guys seen the Netflix documentary about the Titan submersible disaster? I watched it. It is sorry, scary, and eerie. At the end of the documentary, you can hear the implosion. Eerie stuff. Yeah. Levi says, I saw a 35mm cut of the OG King Kong that someone cut in the Jackson Spider Pit scene into. It was wild. Totally throws off the pace, but seeing it back to back was surreal. And of course, a comment from Levi that we all need to hear because we've been talking about Jurassic Park 3. Is this on your soundboard, by the way?
No, but I just thought of that too. That should be there. Yeah.
You need, Brad, tonight, that's your homework. Alan!
Yep.
Alan! From Alessandro Nivola himself. The rhino? He was the rhino.
Yeah,
the rhino. The rhino said, Alan! Scott says, even though they have scientifically accurate Spinosauruses in Jurassic World Rebirth, but are more excited to see the original Spinosaurus return in this movie than the others. Life will find a way. Anyway, Brad, picks. Do you have any? Or did you go already?
It's your turn.
It's my turn. What the fuck did you talk? Oh, you did JFK. Jesus Christ. Scott, thanks. Thanks for fucking up the show, buddy. So yeah, I'm just gonna grab something. Arbitrarily grabbing stuff. So I got some vinegar syndrome, I think. I need my notes. I gotta get my notes. Okay, I got it. So I got 3. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. I have 3 Vinegar Syndrome discs that I have not watched. 4 movies though. So because Levi is here, this has to be done. Hopefully he's still here. He may have left. Who knows? Bone sickness.
Mm-hmm.
I popped on this, and I have Brad to thank for this. Thank you for that, Brad.
Yeah.
This is from what's his face, Paulin. Yeah, Brian Paulin and Rich George, who brought us Bone Sickness. Levi and I talked about this for 3 hours. I don't know if I have it in me to do another review of Bone Sickness, but the timing of this release was tragic because they put this out like right after right after we did that review. So Levi had to watch the fucking thing on YouTube like at like 240p. I happen to have a DVD of it on my shelf. But Bone Sickness is my friend Orion. He cited this as the worst movie he'd ever seen. So of course, when I was strolling the aisles of my local secondhand store and I happened to see a DVD of it, I was like, "Oh, you're coming home with me." And I watched it, and yeah, it's not good, but it's not good in a very, very, very endearing way. Where it's shot on like mini DV cam. It feels like backyard filmmaking, and it has quite a lot of ambition. Actually, there's quite a lot of ambition and care that went into this thing that you wouldn't think for the worst movie I've ever seen. Anyway, I didn't finish my thought there. I have Brad to thank for allowing me to have this in my collection because this fucker sold out in like hours, minutes.
It was pretty quick. It was pretty quick. You could argue that that copy you're holding there should have been mine because I told you about it and then
yeah.
got distracted and missed out. So, but you know, that's your thing. I'm not gonna step on your territory with Bone Sickness. If anybody should own it, it should be you. That is
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah, bitch, you review this, you talk about this for 3 hours, then you can lay claim to it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Is
Put
that,
in the work, son.
Is that Saturn's core? I want to say.
Tis Saturn's core. Very, very. It's like a partner label, but I'm pretty sure this is someone's garage that produced this disc.
Yeah.
Somebody really put some love and care into the art, though.
That is great artwork.
Yeah, they did a good job. It doesn't really represent the film especially well.
No,
but,
I don't think it would. No.
Like the most prominent feature here on the cover, Levi can attest to this, is this goblin-looking fucker. That goblin-looking fucker shows up for the last 5 minutes of the movie and is apparently key to the plot, but is never mentioned, never an element in the film until those last 5 minutes. But they're featured very prominently on the cover here. Same goes for the people in the hazard suits here at the bottom. Very excited to check this out, mostly for the special features, because they got a lot of them. They got some new contemporary interviews with our filmmakers, Brian Paulin and Rich George. So very excited to check that out. Also, I picked this up at my local Scarecrow Video, which basically the largest physical media collection in the country, I think is what it's often cited as. Doubles as a rental place and a retail for discs. Expect No Mercy. This is a Billy Blanks film that actually it was made explicitly to cash in on Mortal Kombat and other games that had similar graphical presentations. And there actually is an Expect No Mercy computer game that ties into this movie that's often cited as one of the worst fighting games ever made. I'm interested to check this out because I have quite a lot of nostalgia for movies of this vintage that are like as aggressive with their special effects and CGI as this movie is. Like The Lawnmower Man, for instance, is not a good film, but I adore The Lawnmower Man for all of its ambition. Mm-hmm. By the way, we have some comments here. Levi says, "We're so back in business." Yes. Bone Sickness, Brian and Rich ride again. The Spanish subtitles in 240p add to the ambiance of the picture. That's an experience I didn't have personally, but I'm glad you did, bud. And the old Asian woman at the market should be on the cover, integral to the plot. I mean, it would be just as representative of the actual content of the film, so why not? And lastly, just to wrap up my Vinegar Syndrome backlog here, China O'Brien, Cynthia Rothrock in China O'Brien 1 and 2. It's a box. It's a large box. I have mentioned this previously on the podcast. Not super familiar with Cynthia Rothrock. I know she has a fan base. I don't know if she has an OnlyFans. I suspect she does. But she is or was a fantastic martial artist. She actually did work in the Hong Kong film industry. In fact, that's like one of the only movies of hers I've seen was Yes, Madam. It was a movie she did co-starring with Michelle Yeoh in the mid 80s. And she can fucking go. Like, she really does have a legit kung fu background. And in that environment, in the Hong Kong stunt world, she was treated as just one of the boys, where it's just like, go fall down these stairs, go kick this guy in the head. It's like, yes, sir. She really was thrown into the deep end and kind of had to sink or swim, and she swam. I think a major thing in her filmography, though, is you can only do what you're tasked with doing. And unfortunately, her career here in the States, I don't know if she was often utilized to the fullest extent of her capability. And I suspect I'm probably going to be kind of let down by some of the martial arts in this film, or these films rather. But it is often cited as like one of the more like prototypical Cynthia Rothrock movies, like one of the more famous films in her filmography. So I'm curious to check it out. I'm guessing I'm just going to be disappointed. Like I think there's a lot of martial arts stars, especially from that vintage, that there's a reason I've not really dug into their filmography at this point in my life. Is probably because they just weren't for me. So I keep making these overtures, I keep making these attempts, but it has never really, it very seldom like unearths like a hidden gem that I was like, oh wow, how was I never watching this guy before? It's like, no, I know who's good these days. Like I know who I like. Leave like comments. I have a promo VHS copy of Expect No Mercy. Goofy ass picture, but pretty fun. You're the first person I've talked to that's seen it. I'm really excited to check it out, just for the novelty factor of the presentation of the effects. Billy Blanks, similar to Cynthia Rothrock, very capable martial artist, did some good work in Hong Kong, but outside of that, I don't know if he again was ever used the way that he was over there. Like King of Kickboxers is often cited as like, that's a good Billy Blanks martial arts performance, but like all his stuff he did here, it's like, nah. Anyway, Scott comes back with, how do you guys personally feel for the new Marvel Spider-Man 3 game in the creators? I'm thinking about using the Sam Raimi Spider-Man Green Goblin suit or something similar. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's news to me, but I'm very excited.
I mean, I hear those games are great. I didn't have a PS4 until pretty recently, though. My brother just dropped it off at my house. He was like, get this shit out of my house. I don't want it. I was like, okay, I'll take your garbage. Yeah. Anyway, any comments on the movies, or do you want to
go? Well, I was gonna say I think Vinegar Syndrome, they've been putting out a few Cynthia Rothrock movies
a lot
lately,
actually.
Right? Yeah. And then I just wanted to ask, because I do believe Expect No Mercy, that is a VSA.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Can you got me on a technicality?
Can we get
the number?
Can we get a number?
What in God's holy name are you blathering about? Thank you. Somebody needed to say it. 9. You can't really see it. 979 out of 5,000.
Ooh.
Pretty
good. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's got the hard. It's got the hard case, and yeah, it is a VSA, not a Vinegar Syndrome proper release. So archive, is that what the A stands for?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. So Brad, do you want to go? How many more of these do you want to do? We're getting longer as we go.
Yeah, I could probably just say if we jump into the speed round. What do you think? I mean,
I think that's fair. We've
Yeah.
been going for a while now.
Not that
So
I have.
sorry for folks who just joined us late, but yeah, we're an hour and a half deep, and it's hot in this tiny room I got here.
And this might take a while still. So not that
Yeah,
I have a ton,
I've got
but
a lot.
um,
So, folks, if you're not aware of what's happening here, we're going to proceed into a little something we like to call the speed round, wherein it's probably going to take a half an hour. So it's ironically named speed round. Basically, we're just going to skim through the titles that we set aside for today's backlog chat. And we'll still have conversation, we'll still have back and forth, but won't be in the same like show and tell kind of format. It's just kind of like I'm just going to go through these, and if you have something to say about it, say it, and then we'll just keep moving. Hence speed round. So Brad, would you like me to go first, or you want to go?
I can kick it off here.
All right.
Give you a little bit of a rest period.
Thank you.
Start with a couple Vinegar Syndrome to Vinegar Syndrome related or adjacent titles here, because I have been buying a lot of Vinegar Syndrome still. Here I have the Prophecy collection, Prophecy 1, 2, and 3, which I've never seen these movies. I'm excited to check them out. But I love this style of box set that Vinegar Syndrome.
Yeah, the diagonal.
Oh my gosh, that is worth it alone. Come on, exactly.
I remember the trailer for the Prophecy 3. I think was on a it was on a VHS tape that my family had when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I never really knew much of anything about those movies. I know they have to do with like angels and demons on Earth and stuff, and Christopher Walken is the headliner of them. I think Viggo Mortensen is in the first one.
Statcast.
Viggo.
Look, oh my gosh, that is. It's not as good as Blade in the Dark, where that's got like a hand, and then you open it up, and the hand is split in two.
Oh, that's sick.
Still
I like
pretty
that.
good.
Very cool. Very cool. I almost picked that up, by the way.
Yeah. I think it's still available. I think the set is still. I don't think it's gone out of print yet. I don't think.
Okay.
Could be wrong. But next up, I have a Degausser video release, which is basically because Vinegar Syndrome, all their releases are shot on film, and they're all about film preservation. This is Degausser video is basically Vinegar Syndrome saying, "Hey, we want to get in on the shot on video SOV style releases that Saturn's Core is putting out and stuff like that." So this one I picked it up because was a bit of a running gag, a little bit of a meme, a bit of a joke between me and my buddy Charlie. He told me about this. It's been referred to as the Mexican version of Child's Play. It is Herencia Diabolica.
This thing.
yeah, this thing. Like obviously, like if you know this movie, you know this image of this
The
guy
ketchup
here.
and mustard goblin.
Yeah. And he like I remember my buddy Charlie sent me like some clips of this guy in it, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing." And I remember when he sent it to me, I was like, "Oh man, I wonder if this seems like something Vinegar Syndrome would put out." And then I was like, "Oh, well, maybe Saturn's Core would put it out because it's SOV." But no, now Herencia Diabolica put it out, and I'm excited to check it out. Don't have high expectations, but I actually do kind of like the sort of the killer doll subgenre. I think those are usually fun.
Yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta check it out. Report back.
And then I have another new label from Vinegar Syndrome here, Cinematograph, which I don't even know what they're. I think they're trying to be a little higher class than Vinegar Syndrome releases. I can't keep it straight, but love these releases. I have Last Embrace here, which is a Jonathan Demme film.
Oh no shit!
And I think Roy Scheider is in it.
Yeah, I recognize that bone structure, Brad.
That's Roy
that
Scheider.
Easter Island looking fucking skull of his.
But like, how nice is this set here? You pull this out and you get this book
wow.
here.
They are
look
a
at that.
better classic criminal there. Jesus.
Like, look at
presentation.
This is real good presentation. There he
is.
is.
Sweaty Roy Scheider.
There he is. So I've got a couple of these releases so far. Cinematograph.
Very cool.
It's some something of a good thing, something of a bad thing in that one of their, I think it was their second release, the limited edition or whatever version, sold out quite quickly, and I didn't get it, which is a good thing and a bad thing because I can't complete the collection unless I buy it used. But also, it's a good thing because I can't complete the collection, so I don't feel as much pressure to buy every single release. So that's kind of a good thing. But anyway, I have a Severin 4K release of The Psychic, a Lucio Fulci, Lucio Fulci film.
Ooh,
I'm a fan of Fulci. I like Lucio Fulci. Haven't seen this one, I don't think, so I had to pick this one up.
what a year on that one.
The year that is, well, I could tell you off the top of my head, but I'll pretend like I don't know it off the top of my head. 1977, 77.
Okay, okay,
So,
very cool.
I also have another horror movie here. This is from Terror Vision. And very small label, but I like supporting them. This is from Maurice Devereaux, who I think is a French Canadian. I think he's Canadian. I think, could be wrong on that, but certainly French based on his name. I have End of the Line
Ooh,
here, which
got
some
like
have
terror
claimed.
dog vibes from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And I think that some have claimed that End of the Line is Maurice Devereaux's masterpiece. That's what I've heard.
Not a name that comes to mind. Maurice Devereaux.
I think that's how you say his name. I could be wrong.
I know
But
it's just not familiar to me.
I mean, if this is his masterpiece, then that's probably why you don't know him. Really, I'd never really heard. I think I knew of this movie. I remember seeing like I think like the VHS or DVD cover in video stores. But he also did the movie Slashers, which I watched from Terrorvision not too long ago, and it had its moments. It was fun, but I think I've heard this is the better of the two movies.
I mean, just from the cover of that looks like something I would have rented as a young fella. Like I would
Yeah,
have been like, "Oh, I want that." I don't know what the
sub
fuck it is, but there's a monster on a subway train. Fuck
subway
yes.
train horror,
Yeah.
very cool subgenre. I like it a lot. I have another Criterion release here. I have Todd Solondz's Happiness, which I think this is a 4K. Yeah. I've never actually seen a Todd Solondz movie, but I've heard great things about him, and I've heard he likes to push some boundaries and some buttons.
Okay.
And this one has one of my favorite actors ever in it with Philip Seymour Hoffman. So I
I was about
definitely,
to say I should have just said it. That cartoon of him, like that drawing of him. I was like,
Mhm.
that looks like either Louis Anderson or Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I mean, I'd be happy if it was Louis Anderson too. I love
Oh
Louis Anderson.
yeah.
It is Philip Seymour. It is Philip. So yeah, I'm excited to check that one out.
Hoffman.
And then I have a 4K release from Warner Brothers of The Hitcher.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
hang on. I seem to remember there being something about The Hitcher where was there like censorship or something with that movie?
I'm actually not sure. I don't know. I know it was very like I don't think it got a traditional Blu-ray release. It was like
Yeah,
very
it was
out of
elusive
print.
for a really long
Yeah,
time. I
yeah.
remember that. But I seem to
Um,
remember like the theatrical release of it or something. Like there was maybe some like international like censorship kind of shit going on. I
you might
could
be
be
right.
wrong on that, but it came to mind. But that's actually something that's been on my to-do list for decades is that movie.
Mm-hmm. It is
Rutger Hauer,
interesting.
Holland's finest.
Apparently it's I don't know how, I don't know the release, I don't know much about the movie and how it was released, but it must be somehow it's an HBO.
Oh, whoa.
So I don't know if it never aired theatrically here in the States. I don't know.
It did. I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But yeah, I'm excited to check this out.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you do a retro review of The Hitcher, I would watch that with you.
Yeah.
Always down to see more Rutger Hauer. Like
You
that
got to
guy.
do it.
You gotta do it.
But yeah,
I'm
that's
marrying into a Dutch family, Brad. You gotta do it.
oh well, then there we go.
It's like if I run out of things to talk about at dinner conversations, like, how about that Rutger Hauer?
Yeah.
He was a fine actor, right?
You guys see that they just put The Hitcher out on 4K?
There you go. It's like, yeah, he really got fucked over on that Nighthawks movie, right?
Yeah.
Like Stallone, he done him dirty on that movie, right?
Exactly.
Am I right? Am I
Exactly.
right, Uncle or Anti-Femca or whatever. Got to learn how to say all these fucking names. Levi says, I should like The Hitcher, but its nihilism is just crushing. Made it kind of tough for me to enjoy. Give me Kurt Russell and Breakdown. Yes, Breakdown is a fine movie. Fine 90s thriller. Hitcher, yes, I've heard is, especially by the time you get to the end of it, I've heard it's pretty fucking gnarly.
Nice.
Nice. Anyway, speed round falls to me. So again, these are not every movie that we have in our backlog, but this is a decent chunk of it, so I'll try to skim through things here. And some of these are going a couple of years back. Feels bad, man. Been looking at these on my to-do list for ages now. I have a Disney Blu-ray from the Studio Ghibli catalog, The Tale of Princess Kaguya. I have very little interest in this film, but it's like cited as like culturally important, and was also, oddly enough, despite its kind of like sparse presentation, apparently like the most expensive Japanese animated film of its day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, looking at it, you wouldn't guess that. I'm guessing there's some particular techniques or something that went into the manufacturing of the cells, because I know at least Hayao Miyazaki, maybe all of Studio Ghibli, it's a point of pride to do hand painted cells of animation. I think they still adhere to that. I could be no, they did that witch movie or whatever that was CGI animated. So maybe the studio's changed over and it's just the old man these days who adheres to that. But I'm guessing they did some very specific techniques or something that made it particularly difficult. Kind of like that. Is it Loving Vincent movie, Brad?
Oh yeah.
Kind of like that, where it's like maybe there's a particular like sophistication that's not immediately apparent. That's like, oh shit, that was really hard to do. And I'm intrigued like endlessly. Like I'm endlessly intrigued with hand drawn animation. Like 3D animation, I appreciate for sure, but it doesn't have that tactile like tangibility to it. It's harder for me to connect to. Like I just don't have the same awe and reverence that I do with hand-drawn animation. Anyway, I have Shin Ultraman, which is still in the shrink wrap. I did actually see this in the theater. I think maybe I included it in like a micro review. And I think some of your friends actually, Brad, saw that one.
I think so, yeah. Santino and Matt and them.
Yeah, it was great. I went to see it with my fiance and my friend, and we had a great time. I haven't rewatched it since, obviously, but it did actually get a Blu-ray release in our region. So I love Ultraman, so of course I picked it up. Shin Kamen Rider, on the other hand, which again I think some of your friends also watched that in the theater, that has yet to get a release in this country. I don't know what the deal is there. If it's a rights thing. Kamen Rider and Ultraman are owned by different Japanese studios, so maybe Toei isn't as friendly as Tsuburaya is. Who fucking knows? Memories. Katsuhiro Otomo's Memories. So after Akira, Katsuhiro Otomo mostly did anthology animation projects. So he did like one of the most famous feature-length animated films. And then after that, he kind of just became like the anthology guy. And he'd get together with other like contemporaries of his, other very, very noteworthy animation directors. And they do these like short films. And this one has Magnetic Rose, Stink Bomb, and Cannon Fodder. And these are all hand-drawn animation. This is from the 90s, I believe. And each and every one of these animated films, all three of them have our particular gimmick or technique that they're employing, that they're exploring, basically. Cannon Fodder in particular has like some of the most mind-blowing like making of footage you'll ever see. Kind of on the same level as was it Kubo and the Two Strings or whatever, where when you get to the end of the movie and they do the Jackie Chan behind the scenes reel showing you how they did the animation, you're like, fuck me. Like, whoa, you mean that puppet was the size of that room? Jesus. And you animated it. This is great. I've seen it a few times actually, but obviously I haven't opened the shrink wrap on the Blu-ray, so it's been a minute.
Yeah, did you have the DVD before? Because I know I've seen that.
I did.
Okay.
I did. Levi contributes. Hand-drawn cell animation has a grit to it. It just has a feel like the pops and crackles of vinyl, like it's almost organic. Digital just looks too slick to me. Agree. Just simply yes. Um, Zaz, the collection on 4K. The Naked Gun,
Nice.
Airplane, and Top Secret. I had never seen Top Secret before, and I really liked it. So I have watched that. I've seen Airplane a bajillion times, so I haven't watched that yet. And I did rewatch The Naked Gun not long ago. So I'm 2/3 of the way through this box, technically. I would like to try to get my fiance to watch Airplane with me, though, because I love Airplane. Isn't like one of the Zuckers like in the headlines these days, kind of similar to Sylvester Stallone and his rights arguments with the Creed series of films? Like, I'm pretty sure one of the Zucker brothers is making a stink very, very publicly about being ousted from the Naked Gun remake.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any rights controversies, but he's certainly stating his displeasure with it. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I think I saw like a YouTube video or something pop up on my feed. I was like, this old fucker? What's he yelling about? And I was like, oh, they're remaking a movie and he's not involved.
Yeah.
He's whining. I mean, maybe his grievance is legitimate. I don't actually know. It was just funny where I was like, what? I haven't seen that guy in decades. Like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
I have here the Kamen Rider Trilogy. Speaking of Kamen Rider, this is the standard edition because the special edition flew in under the radar and apparently sold out in minutes. Otherwise, I would have gotten it. This is 3 Kamen Rider films. Shin Kamen Rider Josho, Kamen Rider Zo, which is my personal favorite, and Kamen Rider J. I really, really want to review these for catching up on cinema, but Kyle won't have the patience for these. Maybe I'll rope you into it or something, Brad, or maybe you, Levi.
I'm down. I'm down for anything.
These are short, but they're like every trick in the book movies when it comes to the special effects they employ. They're beautiful exhibitions of just special effects. And I think Kamen Rider Zo, again, my favorite, I think it's only like 45 minutes long. Like it's short. It was like a direct-to-video movie at the time. I don't think it had a theatrical release. Anyway, I actually had this on Brazilian bootleg Blu-ray because I love these movies so much. And this, at the time, was the only way to get them with English subtitles. There is a Japanese Blu-ray box set release, of course, without English subtitles. And then, months later, this shows up and it's like, oh, well, I guess I got to rebuy it. So now I have this fucking bootleg that maybe I'll ship to somebody or something. Levi says, I know nothing about Kamen Rider, so count me in. Yeah, Levi's he's one of those guys who learns stuff. Like he's big on learning, Brad. Like I don't know how you are about that stuff. I would like to think I'm good at learning. It's the adopting the student mentality about things it's a little bit of a barrier for me. But yeah, I'll talk at you. We'll figure out Kamen Rider at some point. Black Mask. I actually put this disc in my player, but I started falling asleep the last night. I actually got this disc yesterday. This is a Jet Li movie from 1996 that actually did get a domestic US release, though they dubbed over the soundtrack with, I think, Wu-Tang music. Curious choice, but
Nice.
as was the style at the time, Brad. This was a thing that was done when they imported movies in the 90s. Just they would, something about the way they had to be dubbed, they would just go balls out and just be like, fuck it, let's just put a hip-hop soundtrack on top of it instead. I think they kind of did the same thing with Tom Yong-gun with the Protectors, what they called it when they brought it over here, the Tony Jaa movie. That movie was funny because they put Quentin Tarantino's name all over it, Brad, when in actuality all he did was like pay the licensing fee or whatever. Like he didn't make the fucking movie. All he did was present it to the American public. This Thai
you just had
martial
to
arts
trick I mean, that was early days of the internet, so it was not as easy to debunk.
Yeah, and the marketing team knew what they were doing. It's like he is the biggest name associated with this film in any capacity, so why not? I think what they changed for that one was there was a lot of There's a Thai comedian who's actually like a big part of the cast in that movie. I think they just yanked him out because he was deeply unfunny and probably unintelligible because he had a very thick Thai accent and he was mostly speaking English. And then there's a lot of blatant racism in the movie. I think they're just like, no, get that out of here. But yeah, Black Mask. Obviously, the appearance of Jet Li's character in it is modeled after Kato in Green Hornet, the Bruce Lee character. They go so far as to actually just name drop it in the movie, so it's like an explicit reference. Levi says Black Mask, I recall, was decent. I saw it out during a there's got to be some action flicks with dudes in masks when I ran out of cape shit. And yeah, I would say that Black Mask is fine. I don't know if it's anyone's best work. It does have a fun gimmick in that it's a martial arts film set in like a semi-futuristic setting, but like the majority of the cast can't feel pain. Like the bad guy in the world is not enough, Brad. So they're like semi-superhuman. So like it's actually kind of a gory movie, which is kind of cool. It's a nice little element to the nice extra wrinkle in the style of choreography, and it is very much a wire fu movie. Like they're doing some fanciful fucking wire fu in this movie, which not really my thing personally, but they're ambitious with it and they do some fun stuff. So I'm actually excited to rewatch that. This is from Eureka, a label. I think I have one or two other discs from them. I don't have that many from them, but they do good work. Speaking of the Dutch, Brad. Speaking of the Dutch, the most famous of Dutch, Paul Verhoeven's Total Recall. Still in the shrink wrap. I'm going to make my fiance watch this. It's like, Madam, you are Dutch American. This is part of your heritage. I know this much about your culture. So I'm going to make you watch Starship Troopers. I'm going to make you watch Total Recall. I'm going to make you watch Basic Instinct.
It's a requirement. You got to do it.
So far, I've gotten her to do Starship Troopers and RoboCop. This one's probably next on the docket. So we're just going to go through the whole Verhoeveniverse. And yes, that is how you say it, by the way. Verhoeven. Verhoeven.
I like it.
I'm learning, Brad. I'm learning. Quaid. Start the reactor. Free Mars. Zodiac on 4K. First time on 4K, in fact. David Fincher's Zodiac. It's a running gag on my podcast that this movie, for as long as it is just hypnotic. There's some quality to it where it's like if it's on in the background and you like walk by, it's like, oh, well, I guess there goes my evening. It's like, I guess we're just watching Zodiac now. Such that my fiance, again, she kind of gotten her on board with this one. This one and Boogie Nights, I've got her on board for, where it's just like you talk about those movies like there's just like something hypnotic about them that they just draw you in. It's like,
yeah,
she's like curious. She wants to know what it's all about. So this is another one that I'm waiting for her. It's like I would have watched this several times over. Just got to get her on the couch.
Is that the director's cut or theatrical on that?
Blu-ray only for the director's cut.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen the director's cut, Brad. Have you?
That's the one I'm more familiar with because that's what the Blu-ray I have is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So now I have to watch it twice. Well, there goes two of my evenings.
There you go. I don't think
that's a way for me to watch it without her.
There you go.
I can watch the director's cut alone and then watch the theatrical with her because I'm sure the theatrical is shorter and that'll be an easier sell.
Smart.
Yeah. Get classy and show her Soldier and Orange. Paul Verhoeven's one of his I think it's his oldest film with Rutger Hauer. Yes, I'm familiar with this. I've not actually seen it, but if I'm serious about going through the man's filmography with her as like a project, I should do that. The Terminator starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. I picked up this 4K, Brad, because weird reason. The sound. Like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Terminator's had a rough go of it on 4K and Blu-ray and stuff. Terminator 2 in particular. This this particular 4K release, which is pretty recent, like within the past 6 months or so,
Yeah.
includes the mono track, the mono audio track, like as well as a restored version of it. So it's like a hybrid audio track that preserves that grit, that grimy grit that Levi had mentioned in the comments. They're kind of that vinyl kind of quality to it, that tangibility. It preserves that sound, and to me, that was always the biggest sin of any subsequent releases of the Terminator. Was what always jumped out at me when I was young was during the tech noir scene, the gunfight. As soon as the gunfire starts happening in most contemporary releases of this movie, it sounds like laser beams. Like it sounds like you're watching fucking G.I. Joe from the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like it's like, no, it's supposed to be like a Looney Tunes, like like that's what the shotgun's supposed to sound like. That's what it sounded like when I was a kid, when I watched it on TV or on VHS. This 4K is, I think, to date the first time that's ever been replicated since like the VHS and Laserdisc era. So I bought the Terminator on fucking 4K.
That's pretty huge then.
For me, it's a small detail, but to me, the look and the feel of this movie is that it's supposed to be kind of grungy and shitty. Like that's what it is. So just let it be that. You're not going to make it better by changing it. Just let it be as it is. They did actually change something though. They digitally they George Lucased it, Brad. Apparently there was a gaffe in the film, like in every version of the film, basically, where when Arnie is taking his eyeball out with the X-Acto knife, he wasn't actually holding the blade. Like he didn't have anything in his hand, or no, the blade wasn't in the tool for safety reasons. They reinserted it digitally. Levi says, if they don't screw with the visuals, then that's a real winner. Yes, I watched the first 20 minutes or so, or I watched up to the tech noir scene. Can confirm, disc looks pretty snazzy. I was impressed. I was happy with it.
Nice.
I'm sure a lot of more expert people out there will probably disagree wholeheartedly, but it is what it is. I got just a few more, Brad. Damn it, Big Jim. I have here a disc that just arrived yesterday with Black Mask. The Challenge, as directed by John Frankenheimer. The very drunk John Frankenheimer, who made some good films, but was often very drunk. Famously like a general on the set, very stern fella. This movie, just the cast. I saw the end of this when I was a kid, and my mom and all her sisters had like lady boners for Toshiro Mifune when I was young. So forevermore, he's like the symbol of like Japanese masculinity to me personally. It's very cool, Brad. They borrowed his likeness for the new Onimusha game that's coming out soon. That's probably like sacrilege. That's like weirdly ghoulish, taking the visage of a long dead man and transposing it onto a video game character. But if I get to play that video game character, I guess I'm happy. Anyway, Scott Glenn, I really like. Toshiro Mifune, as I said, I have him on the highest of pedestals. I don't think this movie is very good, but just the concept, like a modern day samurai film with a white guy in the lead, I'm in. Sure, I'll give it a shot. Might not be great.
Who put that out?
Kino.
Okay.
Kino.
Yeah.
The Big O. This was an anime that aired on American television in the early 2000s. I picked this up because I saw a decent chunk of it when I was young, when I was like 13 or 14, and I just never got to finish it, and I really wanted to. And it turns out there's a story. Apparently, in Japan, the first season of this ended because they ran out of money, and so it just ends on a cliffhanger, like a big cliffhanger, where it's just like, I don't know, nothing is wrapped up. Like, this story isn't done at all. And apparently, its success on American television is what prompted the animation studio to even produce a second season. So it was the international success of this thing after it already wrapped up that triggered the production of a second season. And unfortunately, the second season happened at a pivotal moment in the history of animation where digital painting, digital colorization was becoming the new standard for cost saving measures. It was just that was the way of the future. And in its nascent form, it was the most hideous fucking shit. I hated looking at animation from the early 2000s because of that.
Yeah.
And the whole second season of this is that. And it's just like I just felt my heart drop out my asshole. Like when I got to the disc where the season changes over, and I was like, oh. And I did research, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh no, this is what it's gonna be.
Did you cry a little bit?
I think I did. I think I cried on the toilet because my heart fell out my asshole. I had to go somewhere.
You had to run.
Yeah, I didn't want to make a mess. Anyway, that's it. So yeah, I actually got to the second season of that. I've yet to finish it though.
Okay.
Levi says John Frankenheimer may be the craziest contrast of incredible directors with unwatchable garbage. Yeah, The Prophecy is a funny movie. Is it just Prophecy or The Prophecy, Brad? It's a different one. It's the Mutant Bear movie. Do you know this one?
Oh no, I don't. I don't think.
Yeah, John Frankenheimer made a Mutant Bear movie called, I think it's just Prophecy without the. And it was unfortunately censored somewhat for violence, which is a shame.
I do know of this just because of I think Scream Factory put it out a while ago. I did not know that was a bear though. I guess
the cover is the weird fetus demon or whatever.
Yeah, I thought this was like a killer baby movie, to be totally honest, based on that fetus style.
I mean, there were a lot of those in the 70s. It was the time for that shit. No, it's one of those environmental like awareness movies where it's just like, stop polluting stuff or you'll make mutant bears. Stop polluting stuff or you'll make psychic babies. Stop polluting stuff or you'll make vampire babies.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I might have to check this out though. I didn't.
It's kind of fun. Like it's a nice little creature feature. Apparently, he was drunk off his ass making it. As I said, that was his MO. And unfortunately, it is censored for violence. Which the reason I say unfortunately is because you can tell they had some good violence in there, but they nixed it for the theatrical release. And I don't think it was ever put out in like bonus features or anything. Levi says, I finished the Big O the night before shipping out for boot camp and screamed at 3 a.m. at the ending. It's good, but I nearly woke up the whole house because I felt possessed. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm glad it's good. That will encourage me to actually finish it, which I fully intend to. It's just when I put in that disc and the beginning of the second season happened and they replicate the ending of the first season, Brad, with the new animation style, and it's just like, they massacred my boy.
Yeah.
Like, what is this shit? Yeah, I'll finish it though, because I was in, like, it's a vibes show, like 100% from what I can tell. Like just the aesthetic, which is unfortunately tarnished by the changeover in animation style, but the soundtrack and the character designs and just the tone of it has a cool vibe to it. That's what attracted me to it in the first place when I was young. So I will finish it, but it's deeply frustrating. Yes, that's what I'm getting. Anyway, I think that's it. So thanks everybody. Thanks Levi for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thanks for contributing. Also, it really feels great to have people commenting. But before we go, thank you, Brad, for joining me today. This is great fun. I look forward to it every month. But how about it, bud? What about your podcast? Where can the people find you? Tell us about the Cinema Speak podcast. Very good.
Well, yeah, sure. I'll toot my own horn a bit. I'll say you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's the Cinema Speak podcast. Just search Cinema Speak on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. We're on Twitter at the Cinema Speak, Instagram, Cinema Speak Podcast, and on YouTube as Cinema Speak. And you can also find us on the web at cinemaspeak.libsyn.com.
All right. You got anything you got to plug? Like any media outside of the podcast? You got any videos in the pipeline at the moment?
I might do a potential Vinegar Syndrome unboxing video. I don't know. We'll see. I do have my package, and I might have some free time this weekend. So we'll see. No guarantee, but I might get crazy.
All right. If you shoot it, I'll edit it, bud.
Oh, there we go. I got no excuse then.
All right. As for myself, I have very little to say right now because I'm not really active on the social medias anymore. We do have an Instagram. It's called Catching Up on Cinema. We do have a Twitter/X. It's Catching Cinema. Again, I'm not really active on either of them, but DM me or whatever. Maybe I'll see it. Other than that, I'm mostly just active in the Red Cow Arcade/Entertainment Discord. I say active, that's not entirely accurate. I mostly just hang out with the slobs, aka the other editors for that YouTube channel for Red Cow Arcade /Red Cow Entertainment, of which your captain speaking, Levi, happens to also be an editor in there, one of the fellow slobs. So check out his channel. He's been posting some really amazing works about literature, about books. Something we don't often do here, although we did talk about Stephen King for a little bit today. That's a little different. Yeah. But yeah, my show is called Catching Up on Cinema. It's been on unintended hiatus for the first time in its 7 years of history. Go fucking figure. But yeah, we do this live stream, Tales from the Shelf, every month. And Brad is always joining me for that. It's tradition at this point. So look forward to next month when we'll be talking about more of our films from our collection. But that being said, thank you so much for listening.